I was just being nice to you because you
I know you don't see it. You're on the component.
I mean,
you all three of y'all on that panel. Don't get me wrong. I understand what y'all are saying, and I don't disagree with it. I just don't like it. Let's just say that because what y'all are saying is this: y'all saying that the Browns roster is terrible, and again, I'm gonna point it out. New head coach. First, usually when you get a new head coach, that comes with a new offense. Usually it takes a team a long time to even adapt to that offense. You usually don't see them pick that offense and take off until like the second half of the season. So if that's the case, the Browns was already behind the eight ball. Then you add into the fact that you got a quarterback who, one, Deshaun Watson has not played particularly well at all. And then a guy in Shedeur Sanders who statistically is one of the worst quarterbacks. So y'all look at that and say, if that's the case, the Browns are better off to fix the Browns. The best situation is for them to lose this season, then get the quarterback in 27. You get a second year with Todd Monken. So now that offensive line and all those offensive players, young players, have been in that system for a second year. You insert that quarterback who's a high draft pick. So you insert a Dante Moore or Arch Manning or whoever the heck it is. You put them in there with those guys who is a year better in the system. They should typically be better in that next year. So y'all think the best way for the Browns to dig out of the situation that they're in is for them to draft one of these high quarterbacks because y'all don't think Shedeur Sanders' upside is where it's supposed to be. Statistically, it doesn't say that. And when you watched him in practice this year, y'all haven't necessarily seen the growth that everybody else is seeing. So y'all think that y'all might, if the Browns' best case scenario for this season is to lose, so they can then go get the quarterback, because the quarterback is the key to winning Super Bowls. The quarterback is the only way that they're going to dig themselves out of this. I understand that. I don't want that to happen. That is boring. I don't want to sit here and waste a whole season. That's why I'm very optimistic about this Browns.
I don't disagree with anything you say there. I do think the best case scenario is that Shedeur proves the doubters wrong. I am one of the doubters. Now, I leave open the possibility that he could still be good, but I'm not a believer. But in a perfect world, yes, he plays great, and then they could use all those draft picks on other players. I don't think the roster is terrible, though.
I don't think so either.
I think the roster overall, besides quarterback, is trending in the right direction.
I said that to Earl a couple weeks ago. I think we're a year away.
Yeah.
Like I think next year we can start to have, for me, realistic conversations about this team being competitive in the division and chasing a wild card spot and all that stuff. I just think they're a year out yet. And Ty, I hear you. Like, you want to be optimistic. I try to be a little bit more realistic that, like, they still haven't dug out of the Deshaun debacle, and it's still a year away. And you can be as optimistic as you want. I still think they're a year away from totally being rid of that and being rid of the stain of that whole thing and being able to push forward into the daylight. So I really don't think we're that far off.
Are you saying that? Is it because Deshaun Watson's on the roster? Is that what you're talking about? Because he will finally be off the roster? Is that what you're talking about?
I think that it was such a swing and a miss that it will take multiple years for them to dig out of it. And I think there's one more to go. One more draft class. Yes, get him off the roster. Yes, get the cap situation. Get rid of all of that to where they can operate functionally again and go back to being able to spend more on free agents, all of that stuff. But when I say we're not that far off, I think you and I really aren't that far off. I think we're a year apart and are where we think they are.
Yeah, I'm more so with Bull. I'm on the to me personally, I think that the reason that I believe that I'm more optimistic about Shedeur than a lot of people are, or a lot of you guys are, is because I'm not naive to the fact that the whole what happened with him and Kevin with the whole no training camp thing or not getting the reps and having to learn things on the fly. See, y'all look at it as a guy who statistically he didn't put up the statistics that you want. I looked at it as when I saw him in Baltimore and I saw them do what they did to him in Baltimore, I saw a guy who, even in that, as bad as he looked, still had a chance to win that game. You know, if Gage Larvin catches that ball, we sing in a different tune, right? And I know you'll look at it as, well, and a lot of people will look at it as, well, when he came into the game, if I mistake me if I'm wrong, I believe the Browns were. Exactly. So y'all look at it as he came in and he was so bad that they lost the game, that even if he did that, y'all still wouldn't be a believer in him, because he had lost the game and then he had a chance to tie it up or win the game in the end, and he didn't do it. So that's how y'all look at it. But I look at it as a guy who, over the course of however many games that he played, I saw him on the fly get better. I saw him on the fly see the game slow down just a little bit. It wasn't for 4 quarters by any means, but it was moments where I'm like, all right, it's starting to click for him. He's starting to figure it out. And that just comes when you get reps. So that's why, to me, I'm a little optimistic, because he's getting reps this off season. Like this, it isn't, he's on another field with another, throwing to the water boys. Like, it's not that. Like, he's actually getting these reps, and it's like, I'm hoping that the more reps he gets in there, the more that he does it, the more it slows down. And I'm hoping that it clicks for him right before the season starts, or when at some point in the season. Because Bull is right. If Shedeur is the answer, we move forward quicker. Now we're not using a first-round pick on a quarterback. We're using a first-round pick on other areas. So that, to me, is why I am where I am in the boat, to where I would love for them to go out there and win 7 to 8 games this season. And realistically, I feel like there is a road for them to do that. And I'm going to view that road until it's not there anymore.
Fair enough, Tyvis. That's why we love you. Your optimism.
Go Browns. Hey, freak.
Dawg Pound. Imagine this for 1 second. J.C. Jackson in Cleveland, a veteran cornerback, a ball hawk, a defensive back who, when he is locked in, can change the game with 1 interception, 1 breakup, 1 mistake forced from the quarterback. Now imagine him walking into the Browns building and joining a defense built to protect Shedeur Sanders and help Cleveland chase a Super Bowl. That would be dangerous. Now, let's be clear, this is not official. J.C. Jackson has not signed with the Cleveland Browns. This is a possible move, a dream scenario, a roster-building idea. But if Cleveland ever had a chance to add a corner with his turnover ability, the Browns would have to look at it seriously. Because if the Browns believe Shedeur Sanders is the path, they cannot build around him halfway. And building around a young quarterback is not only about offense. Yes, Shedeur needs weapons. He needs Jerry Jeudy creating separation. He needs Isaiah Bond stretching the field. He needs KC Concepcion bringing motion and creativity. He needs Harold Fannin Jr. attacking the middle. He needs Quinshawn Judkins running with power. He needs Dylan Sampson bringing speed out of the backfield. But Shedeur also needs a defense that can steal possessions, a defense that can get off the field, a defense that can create turnovers, a defense that can give him short fields, momentum, and breathing room. That is where J.C. Jackson changes the conversation. Because Jackson is not just another cornerback. He has played big football. He has been around winning standards. He has shown he can take the ball away. And in today's NFL, that matters. A pass breakup is good. A forced punt is better. But an interception, that changes the entire game. Imagine 3rd and long. The opposing quarterback drops back. The Browns bring pressure. The ball comes out late. J.C. Jackson reads it, jumps the route, and takes it the other way. Now the stadium explodes. Now Shedeur Sanders walks onto the field with momentum. That is winning football. That is how a defense helps a young quarterback. Shedeur should not have to score 35 points every Sunday. He should not have to be perfect every drive. He should not have to chase the scoreboard because the defense cannot make plays. If the Browns build a defense that can create chaos, Shedeur can play calmer. He can play smarter. He can lead with rhythm instead of panic. And that is how Cleveland becomes dangerous. Now picture this Browns defense. Denzel Ward locking down one side, J.C. Jackson hunting the football on the other, physical defenders flying around the field, pressure coming up front, quarterbacks looking uncomfortable, receivers getting frustrated, and every mistake becoming a chance for Cleveland to flip the game. That is the kind of defense that can travel. That is the kind of defense that can win in December. That is the kind of defense that can make the AFC North nervous. Because Baltimore wants to run through you. Pittsburgh wants every game to become a street fight. Cincinnati wants to attack through the air. So Cleveland needs corners who are not afraid, corners who can challenge throws, corners who can punish mistakes, corners who can turn defense into offense. J.C. Jackson gives them that kind of possibility. Now, would J.C. Jackson alone guarantee a Super Bowl? No, nobody does that alone. The Browns would have to be smart. The contract has to make sense. The role has to make sense. The health has to check out. The fit has to be right. But if the opportunity is real, Cleveland should explore it, because this would be more than adding a cornerback. It would be adding danger. It would be adding confidence. It would be adding another defensive weapon for Shedeur Sanders. A message to Shedeur: you do not have to carry this alone. A message to the AFC North: Cleveland is coming for every mistake. A message to Browns fans: this defense wants to take the ball away. Dawg Pound, just imagine it. Ward erases one side. J.C. Jackson waits on the other. The quarterback gets impatient. The pressure arrives. The throw comes out late. J.C. Jackson jumps it. Interception. Browns ball. Then Shedeur Sanders walks onto the field with a short field and a chance to attack. That is how games flip. That is how seasons change. That is how playoff teams are built. If Shedeur Sanders is going to lead the Browns to something special, Cleveland needs a complete roster around him. Weapons on offense, protection up front, a physical run game, and a defense that can create fear. J.C. Jackson could be part of that vision. A ball-hawking corner, a veteran presence, a defender who knows how to turn one throw into a turning point. And if everything clicks, this Browns defense could become the kind of unit no rival wants to face. So now I want to hear from you. Would J.C. Jackson be the veteran cornerback who helps Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns build a defense strong enough to chase a Super Bowl? Drop your take in the comments, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stay locked in for more Browns news, Browns rumors, NFL updates, and real Dawg Pound reactions every single day.